I want you to imagine, just for a second, the really harsh, kind of undeniable smell of chlorine baking on hot concrete.
Oh, yeah. Very specific smell.
Right? And you're standing there in this blinding Memphis, Florida heat. The sun is just, starting to dip low.
That intense late afternoon heat.
Exactly. And you've got this pool skimming net in one hand. Your muscles are just aching from a long day of physical labor. And in your other hand,
Yeah.
you are holding this absolute masterclass in high-level linguistic engineering.
It's quite the visual.
It really is. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a wildly fascinating, uniquely American piece of writing titled Tranquilical Engineering, a new language of the tropical grit.
Such a great title.
It's a manifesto of sorts,
Yeah.
written by a Florida pool truck guy who is literally leaning against his truck.
Right, but he's not just skimming leaves.
No, not at all. He
Yeah.
is a digital empire builder. He's this rogue linguist attempting to invent an entirely new word to capture a highly specific state of mind.
And I think the juxtaposition driving this source material is what makes it so incredibly compelling.
Oh, 100%.
We're looking at this raw physical exhaustion of manual labor colliding head-on with the calculated surgical precision of academic grammar.
Which you don't normally see together.
Exactly. He is essentially reverse engineering the English language because he recognized a complete linguistic void in his environment.
A linguistic void. I like that.
Yeah, to build the lifestyle and the digital architecture he wanted, the existing vocabulary was just entirely insufficient.
And the text establishes that void right away. I mean, before we even get into the mechanics of this new word he invents, we have to look at his underlying frustration with the language that already exists.
Right. The problem he's trying to solve.
Exactly. So he talks about leaning against his work truck, looking out at this pool he just serviced, and thinking about this concept he calls the digital land grab.
And that phrase, digital land grab, is so crucial here.
It really is.
He's observing how the internet has essentially commodified the whole Florida experience.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got tech companies, influencers, tourist boards, and they are all rushing to claim this digital real estate based on a highly, sanitized version of his physical reality.
Right, the brochure version.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads directly to his profound annoyance with the adjectives everyone defaults to.
The tired cliches. He specifically calls out words like beautiful, sunny, and relaxing.
Right.
And he acknowledges, okay, these words are fine for a tourist brochure, but he argues they completely fail to capture the actual grit and soul of the work being done down there.
Well, think about the mechanics of those words.
Okay.
Like sunny. Sunny is something that happens to you.
Right, it's just weather.
Exactly. It's an atmospheric condition.
Yeah.
And relaxing implies the total absence of effort.
But he is not absent of effort.
Not at all. This author is performing grueling manual labor in intense heat. He's managing toxic chemicals. He's maintaining a tight schedule.
Sweating it out?
Right. So to him, applying these passive adjectives to his environment entirely erases the reality of his daily existence.
Wow.
The vocabulary of the tourist actively deletes the labor of the worker.
Okay, that makes so much sense. It's like, okay, imagine spending 2 solid days preparing this really complex, heavily spiced, slow-cooked meal.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Right. You're roasting the peppers, you're constantly balancing the acidity, you're managing the heat for 48 hours straight just to build this intricate flavor profile.
The sheer amount of work.
Exactly. And then you serve it to a guest, they take one bite, and they look at you and say, it's nice.
Oh, that is brutal.
Right. It completely strips away the texture and the effort.
Right. It completely strips away the texture and the effort.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. Nice strips away all the function. It's a word designed entirely for passive consumption.
It's an insult to the chef.
It really is.
Just like sunny is an insult to the person who is hustling out there to maintain that illusion of paradise.
Which forces you to ask, why do we let tourist brochures define the vocabulary for the people who actually sweat and hustle in a place?
Well, historically, the people doing the sweating haven't possessed the platform to write the dictionaries.
They're too busy working.
Right. They're too busy doing the work to control the narrative. But this author rejects that historical precedent entirely.
He's not having it.
Not at all.
Oh.
Because the existing language is hollow, he treats grammar not as some, dry academic exercise, but as a mechanical tool.
A wrench.
Exactly. He needs a wrench to build a specific reality. And since he can't find one, he he decides to forge it himself.
Okay, so that brings us to the actual blueprint of the word he creates.
The engineering part.
Right, he literally gives us a grammar lesson in the middle of the text.
Which is fantastic.
It is. He starts with a base noun, which is tranquility.
The peace we're all chasing.
Right, the ultimate destination. But then he fuses it with what he calls the tropical energy of the network.
And this is where his linguistic engineering becomes really sophisticated.
How so?
Well, he utilizes the English suffix "-er, cal,
Okay.
and the author specifically identifies this suffix as a derivational powerhouse.
A derivational powerhouse? I'm trying to picture how a suffix acts like a piece of heavy machinery.
Right, it sounds intense.
Yeah.
But in linguistics, a derivational suffix is essentially a compiler.
Okay, like in programming.
Exactly. It takes raw code and turns it into a running program.
Uh-huh.
So by taking a solid static noun like tranquility,
Which is just a place you arrive at.
right, just a state, he attaches detchel and he changes the fundamental category of the word.
He turns it into an adjective.
Yes.
Yeah.
He converts it into an adjective meaning related to or pertaining to.
So it's active now.
Exactly. He engineers a word that acts as a descriptive force. It's like an operating system that alters everything it touches.
And the final product is Tranquilical.
Tranquilical.
Okay, wait, I have to play devil's advocate here. I need to challenge this premise.
Go for it.
If I'm looking at this from a purely practical standpoint, tranquility is already about being at peace. We have the word tranquil.
Sure we do.
If someone is just sitting by a pool, relaxing, enjoying the sun, why isn't that enough?
Well,
Why go through the mechanical trouble of bolting on extra syllables and injecting all this supposed tropical energy?
I see what you're saying.
Right. Isn't he just overcomplicating a nap in a hammock?
If the goal was taking a nap, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But the author makes it very clear in the source material that tranquilical does not just mean quiet.
It doesn't.
No, it is absolutely not a nap in a hammock. That is the exact assumption he is trying to dismantle.
Oh, okay. So what is it then? Because he mentions it possesses a high value quality of peace. But, I mean, peace usually implies stopping.
Not in his framework.
Really?
Yeah. He argues that this specific high-value piece is only achieved when your, quote, ninja skills are sharp and your vision is clear.
Ninja skill.
Yeah. The text defines it as the intersection of two intensely different concepts,
Okay, what are they?
the blue mind state and a 10-layer stack of efficiency.
Okay, let's break that down. The blue mind state, that refers to the psychological phenomenon, right? Where being near or in water induces this mild, natural, meditative state.
Exactly.
It lowers your heart rate. It's basically a passive biological response to the environment.
Right. That's the natural part. But now imagine pairing that passive natural psychology with a 10-layer stack of efficiency.
Which sounds completely contradictory.
It does. A tech stack is a concept pulled straight from software development.
Right, like front end, back end.
Exactly. It refers to the combination of programming languages, tools, frameworks used to build an application. Database, server, all of it.
So it implies highly organized, optimized, relentless productivity.
Yes.
But how does a pool route map onto a 10-layer tech stack? I'm having trouble connecting those dots.
By treating the physical world like a digital architecture.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. He's managing chemical balances.
Right.
He's optimizing his physical driving route across Memphis, Florida. He's managing client relations, scheduling, and as we learn later, he's running a digital network simultaneously.
So he's running all these layers concurrently.
Exactly. So Tranquilical isn't the piece of doing nothing.
It's the piece of having your systems operating so flawlessly that you have mastered the chaos.
Nailed it. It's the serenity of high performance.
The serenity of high performance. That's a great phrase.
Thanks. If your systems are optimized, you can exist in the absolute chaos of a 100-degree Florida day and still maintain that blue mind state.
Wow.
You aren't just relaxing. You are operating at peak efficiency under a tropical sun.
But, you know, understanding the grammar of the word doesn't really explain where he got the audacity to invent it in the first place.
Like the origin story.
Yeah. To understand that, the source material actually forces us to look completely away from the Florida coast.
We have to look at 1980s Detroit.
Which is wild.
It's a massive pivot.
The origin story of this specific flavor of ninja skills and grit traces straight back to the Rust Belt. Because the author grew up in Michigan.
Yeah, and he specifically credits watching 1980s sitcoms.
Yes. He names characters from vintage television. He talks about Flo, the iconic sassy waitress,
Right.
and George Jefferson.
Yes.
And I have to admit, when I was reading this, I thought, what does a 1980s Rust Belt sitcom have to do with Gulf Coast tech efficiency?
It seems disconnected at first.
Right. It's like taking the gritty, roaring V8 engine out of a Detroit muscle car and dropping it into a beach cruiser.
That is exactly what it's like.
Why do that?
Well, the author notes that these characters, they didn't just exist on the screen to deliver punchlines.
Right.
He says they, quote, commanded the room with their own flavor of sass and ambition.
They had presence.
Exactly. They were working-class people trying to climb the ladder. They were attempting to control their environments through sheer force of personality and hustle.
I mean, George Jefferson literally moved on up through a dry cleaning business.
Yeah. Exactly. A service industry job.
Just like cleaning pools.
Bingo. And that is a connection.
Oh, man.
The author absorbed that specific working-class hustle, that grit of Michigan, and he transplanted it to the Memphis, Florida heat.
He realized that ambition is geography agnostic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Building a digital network between pool routes while looking like a laid-back local. It's essentially background processing on a computer.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it. While the tourist sees the screensaver.
Right, just a guy leaning against a truck in the sun.
Exactly. But his internal CPU is running at 99%.
Compiling his future.
Yeah, he's running a George Jefferson operating system inside a Florida hardware casing.
I love that. And that background processing is the essence of Tranquilical.
Because it isn't just about describing a geographical place.
No, the author specifically states it's about describing a quality of being.
It is stealth ambition.
Subtle ambition, exactly.
Okay, so we have the linguistic theory, and we have this really unexpected origin story involving 80s television.
Right.
But the text doesn't just stay theoretical. It actually pivots into how this philosophy changes his day-to-day behavior.
Yes, the practical application.
Right. He specifically frames it as a tool for a budget-conscious traveler to identify real-world value.
And he applies Tranquilical to 3 distinct areas of his life.
Okay, let's walk through those.
Sure, so it's finding flavors, capturing vibes, and exercising grit.
Flavors, vibes, and grit.
Right. But these aren't just random categories he threw together.
No.
No, they represent a unified theory of value asymmetry.
Okay, let's follow that progression, starting with consumption.
Okay.
The text talks about tranquilical flavors. He describes the pursuit of this hidden gem grouper sandwich that costs a tenner, but tastes like $1,000,000.
Right. Now, to a tourist, a $10 sandwich is just a cheap lunch.
Right, it's just convenient.
But to the author, it is a data point of superior local intelligence.
Oh, I see.
Finding the sandwich requires local knowledge. It requires effort and an eye for quality that algorithms and tourist traps completely overlook.
So it's a win.
Yes, it's an asymmetrical victory against the inflated economy of that digital land grab we talked about earlier.
Wow, okay. And then he moves from consuming value to capturing it.
Right. Under the banner of Tranquilical Vibe.
Tranquilical vibes. He describes this highly specific technological action.
The camera thing.
Yes. Rotating your phone on its vertical axis to nail a night panorama shot.
Oh, yeah.
While, and this is my favorite part, actively shaking his head at the rest of the world for, quote, wasting pixels on digital zoom.
This is where his hardware mastery really shows up.
It really does.
Because most people on vacation don't actually understand the tools in their pockets.
They just pinch the screen to zoom.
Exactly. Which degrades the image quality.
Hmm.
They're performing the act of taking a photo without understanding the mechanics behind it.
So true. Think about the last time you were on a trip. Were you actually mastering the environment, or were you just performing relaxation for your camera roll?
Such a good question.
Right.
And the author, he's standing in this beautiful nocturnal setting, but his satisfaction doesn't come from just passively looking at it.
It comes from executing a superior technical maneuver.
Exactly. He rotates the phone vertically to increase the sensor's sweep area.
Capturing high resolution without any artificial zooming.
Yes. He controls the environment digitally, just as he does physically.
Which naturally escalates to the final application, which is production.
The grit.
Tranquilical grit. The text defines this as the sheer resourcefulness required to build an empire of 4 websites while still working the daily pool route.
4 websites.
Between skimming leads and checking chemical levels.
Notice the trajectory here.
Okay.
He finds hidden value in the sandwich. He optimally captures value with the panoramic photo. And then he produces value through his 4 websites.
So it's a complete cycle.
Yes. This is what he calls the sweet spot of efficiency and grit.
But And I have to ask this, isn't tranquilical grit just a fancy, maybe self-soothing way of saying he's absolutely exhausted from working two jobs?
I mean, that's a fair question.
Right. It could easily be interpreted as, like, toxic hustle culture masquerading as peace.
It definitely could be if the end goal was merely to survive the exhaustion.
Right.
But the source material frames this as a deliberate architectural build. He isn't just running on a hamster wheel.
He's constructing a network.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the final section of our source material. The author makes a direct callback to George Jefferson.
Moving on up.
Yes. He states that coining this new word is his way of moving on up in the digital world.
Right.
He declares that Tranquilical is the official signature of what he calls the Tropical Tranquility Network.
See, he is branding his reality before someone else can do it for him.
That's powerful.
It really is. The language had to precede the empire. If he didn't invent the word, he would have to build his network using the vocabulary of the tourist brochures.
Which, as we established, completely erases his labor. He even provides a roadmap of where this network is heading. He teases upcoming content about dog-friendly flavors on Anna Maria Island,
Yeah?
and mobile photography hacks on a platform called Seize the Days Photography.
So he didn't just write a blog post. He basically drafted a constitution for his digital land grab.
That is exactly what this is. It beautifully bridges the physical, sweaty reality of the Florida Sun Coast with the calculated science of content strategy.
He just refused to let the algorithm define his labor as just sunny or relaxing.
Right. So he forged this derivational powerhouse of a word.
To force the world to acknowledge his grit
His tech savvy.
and his specific, highly engineered flavor of peace.
Which brings us to the core takeaway for you listening to this deep dive right now.
The real lesson here.
Exactly. Tranquilical isn't just a quirky vocabulary word to drop into a conversation at a party.
No, not at all.
It's a whole philosophy. It's a framework for rejecting the passive labels people put on your environment and actively engineering your own reality through the synthesis of hard work and optimized systems.
Because once you name the territory, you establish your authority over it.
Perfectly said. So I want you to think about your own daily grind. What highly specific, currently unnamed state of being are you experiencing right now? Maybe it's that distinct vibrating exhaustion you feel after a massive creative breakthrough.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or maybe it's the peculiar high-stakes piece of perfectly navigating a chaotic morning commute while mentally planning a huge project.
We've all been there.
Whatever that unique sweet spot is, it probably doesn't have a name yet.
Not yet.
So what would happen if you finally took a linguistic wrench, bolted some syllables together, and invented the perfect word to give it power?